actually want to see change happen in the next year, we need to be reminded of the things that we'd like to change or the things that we'd like to continue. So this whole thing. Hey everyone, Maria Jernigan here. Today we are talking about goal setting in 2021, but not just your typical high achieving, feeling super motivated about the new year goal setting, because that's normally me, and that's probably normally you too, but this year, if you're feeling exhausted and burnt out after 2020, goal setting is probably the last thing that you're motivated to do. We always hear that goals should have countable outcomes and should have a deadline, but because I was feeling so exhausted as a teacher, teaching in a pandemic, like you probably are too, I realized that I need a better way to come up with my 2021 goals or my 2021 intentions. So I'd like to share it with you. And hey, I made this specifically for teachers who are teaching in the middle of this pandemic and are feeling exhausted and burnt out. But if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling unmotivated, regardless of your profession or where you are in life, I think this will probably work for you too. And before you click off, if you're just feeling like goal setting is too much, I know if you're feeling exhausted and unmotivated, goal setting can seem like an uphill battle, but it also is a way to clarify and to restate for yourself what's most important to you to help you feel reinvigorated for 2021. So this is worth doing even if you feel super tired, because I know I do. This one's not going to be helpful now, is it? Hey, just grab a piece of paper. I'm going to help you walk through a reflection of the year and then figure out how you want to think about this next year. Let's do it. Ready? Okay. In your notebook, grab a notebook. The first thing I want you to write down is a random list, a random assortment of your wins that come to the top of your mind. Think about the things that brought you joy and that you're proud of from this past year. And I know, especially as teachers in this time, there might not be a lot of them. So let's take some time and actually celebrate the ones that you're feeling really good about. I'm going to be approaching this thinking about my job as a teacher. So I recommend that you do this too, because we could think about personal things that brought us joy, but I'm going to focus right now on what brought me joy, in the classroom, in my job, in my professional work. So you approach this how you think you want to approach it. Now remember, there was a January and a February 2020. So, even if your teaching changed completely as it probably did in March, there are plenty of things that brought you joy in 2020. You just might not be ready to list them off as easily as you might normally. All right, pause the video, write that out, and then let's move on. You probably figured what was coming next. Now jot down the things that sucked your energy, sucked the life out of you. What parts of the profession, what parts of your day-to-day routine made you feel less than or unmotivated or unenergized? Don't spend too much time on this and don't go crazy, but it's worth thinking about what are the first things that come to your mind. Was it a particular tech issue? Was it classroom management? Was it checking in on students to make sure that they're getting their late work in on time? Some of this stuff we don't have control over and probably will continue in 2021 in pandemic teaching, but get it out of your head and onto the paper. I want you to look at your list of things that sucked your energy, that stole your energy from you teaching in 2020. How many of those on your list are outside of your control? And how many of those things on your list are in your control? Just star the ones that are in your control. Now look at your list of things that sucked your energy this past year. Are any of them potentially a result of you guilting yourself for not being some version of yourself that is unattainable? For example, something that I spent a lot of energy worrying about in my virtual classroom in 2020 was if I was engaging enough for my students. And if the classroom the environment I was building on Zoom was just as immersive, just as interactive as it was in person. But you notice here that there's this undertone when we talk about what sucked my energy as a teacher. There's this undertone of this standard or this thing that I should be able to pull off, this thing that I should be, or this stuff that I should do. So look at your list. Are you shoulding on yourself? And just take note. P.S. My next video is going to be about work-life balance tips as a teacher in a pandemic. So if stuff like this is on your list that that you feel like you could be better at, but you're not really sure how to fix it. We might not cover it here, but stay subscribed, stick around for the next video, work-life balance as a teacher in 2021, coming soon. Okay, we've dumped our brain. Now, I'm just asking you to think of one thing for this next question. Don't feel pressure to come up with a ton of stuff or the perfect answer. Just whatever comes first to your mind, just write this down. What is one thing to improve your teaching or improve your work? What's one thing that you want to learn in 2021? Is it a new tool? Is it a new skill? Is it a certain topic that you think you could be better at in your profession? What's that one thing that you'd like to challenge yourself to learn in 2021? Write that down. If by chance the thing you want to learn is project-based learning, I've got a video series on that. Feel free to click the playlist right there. And if you're a world language teacher, there's a conference coming up, virtual free conference, January 8th through 10th. I'm a speaker. I think you would love to be there. Maybe your one thing you want to learn, you could learn in January. Link below. All right, now, perhaps related to one thing you want to learn, but maybe not. What's one thing in your classroom, in your work, what's one thing new that you want to try? What's one thing that it's an idea you've been flirting with or, kind of interested in, but maybe you've told yourself up until this point that, oh no, I can't do that. That's not for me. But you see the benefits of what it could bring you if you were bold enough to try it. You don't have to pick 10 things to try. And I know that this past year as teachers, we were trying a lot of new things, but what's one thing that you're going to try on your terms? Write that down next. And all right, red is my next color. Why would it be red? Now think about one thing that you want to stop. Now listen for a second. This should not be saying there's 50 things that I should be able to do or that I shouldn't do and I'm gonna rip myself a new one right now. But I do want you to look at that list of stuff that sucked your energy in the past year. And perhaps there's something that's in your control in that list that you were giving free real estate in your mind to, or you were dedicating more worry and more time than maybe it really deserved. What's some pressure that you want to free yourself of? Think of that kind of thing as one thing you want to stop. Like for me, it's I want to stop checking my work email after 5 p.m. I don't need to be checking my email at 9 o'clock at night before I go to bed in case that a kid who hasn't shown up for class has a question about the homework that's 3 weeks late. For me, that's a boundary that I need to put for myself so that I can better my students. But what's that one thing for you? All right, so right now we've got one thing to learn, one thing to try, one thing to stop. Orange. I don't know if you could see orange. Let's try it. On your piece of paper, you've got a list of things that brought you joy in the past year, a list of things that stole your energy, perhaps unnecessarily, in the past year, and you've marked here on that list, hopefully, or if you haven't, you can do it now, the things that are in your control in that list. And you've got one thing to try, one thing to learn, and one thing to stop. Look at your whole paper and come up with a 3-word motto that is like your intention. Something that you want to remember on a daily basis to make 2021 better than 2020 was in your work. Look at your whole paper and summarize in 3 words a particular message you want to remind yourself of daily in 2021. It doesn't have to be this beautiful proverb. It doesn't have to be this fortune cookie related thing. Just a couple words that sum up for you one intention you want to bring into the new year based on your list. So it might be something like, messing up's okay, or recharging is needed. Think of something that for you will be meaningful, but like a shorthand for something you want to remember next year. if we put all of our thoughts on a paper, it's out of our head. But if we actually want to see change happen in the next year, we need to be reminded of the things that we'd like to change or the things that we'd like to continue. So this whole thing, put it on a sticky note. Here's what I want your sticky note to look like. I need a good color. Brown works. All right. Okay. We'll pretend that's a good square. All right, on your sticky note, I want you to write these 4 things. One thing to learn. One thing to try. One thing to stop. And a 3-word motto to go by. Write it on your sticky note now. I'm assuming that you're pausing and writing and finding a sticky note in your desk or something. Cool, so by this point, you have a sticky note that says something like, learn, project-based learning, for example. Try, an online immersive game to get my kids in Spanish class to speak in the target language more. That's a pretty long one. Maybe just like gamification. Stop. Stop having a cluttered desk except for the very part of the background that your camera can see. Motto, messing up's okay. Or something like that. So I want you to actually put this on a sticky note, snap a picture of it, and upload it to Twitter or to Instagram. Tag me here. I'd love to see it, and stick that sticky note somewhere you're going to see it every day. You know, on your laptop or at your desk. Like, put it somewhere where you're going to interact with that sticky note in your teacher life from day to day in the next year, so that you remember the intentions and the commitments that you made to yourself. You deserve it. All right, best of luck to my fellow teachers out there, or to anyone who's struggling with feeling burnt out and being and wanting to be more motivated in the next year. Know that I'm right there with you. My name is Maria Jernigan from Redshift Education, and good luck and happy 2021. Bye.